Hi friends, welcome! I'm Emily, I'm 19, and this is my booktube channel. I've been wanting to start a booktube for a really long time, and since I have pretty much nothing else to do because of quarantine, I thought that this would be a good time to get started. I found a really great set of like newbie booktube questions. It's like the booktube newbie tag. I think it was originally created by Brenda C on YouTube, so I took her questions, winnowed them down a little bit to fit my purposes. I thought that this would be kind of a good first video, like a get to know you kind of thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer those questions. So strap in, let's go. First question is, why did you start this channel? So like I said a little bit before, I've been wanting to start a booktube for a really long time. I've always been an avid reader ever since I was a little kid, and I've just always felt like I have to talk about the books that I read after I read them. It's just this weird, like, impulsive need kind of to just get all of my feelings out. And my friends and family are readers, but they don't tend to read the same things that I read. But booktube seems to read the things that I read. So I thought this would be a great place to share my thoughts and bounce ideas off of people who read similar things. So that's one reason. And the second reason is that the booktube community just seems like a really great place to be, you know, with really kind and supportive people, and everybody seems to be very open and accepting, and that's really important. So I am super excited to become a part of this community. Okay, the second question is, what are you most excited about for this channel? I kind of answered this before, but I'm just really excited to have a place to just sit down and talk about books. Like, that's just so much fun. Seems like a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And so I'm super psyched to just like dive in and have a great time talking about books and talking to other people about books. It's gonna be great, I'm excited. The third question is, why do I love reading? So that's a big one. Reading for me is, as I'm sure it is for most people, an escape from the real world. It's nice to take on a fictional character's stress rather than your own. Seriously though, there's really nothing like reading a book. It's so different from any other form of entertainment. It's just, you're fully engaged the whole time. You have to be fully engaged or you just won't understand what's going on. I mean, it's you doing the act of reading the words, putting the plot points together in your head, imagining the characters, imagining the setting. It's just such a beautiful way to get entertainment and to learn new things and become immersed in different worlds. Like I said, I mean, it's unlike any other thing that you could do. The fourth question is, what book or series got you into reading? And so I kind of have two. The first one is the Magic Treehouse series by Mary Pope Osborne. That was when I was like really, really little. That was my first like chapter book kind of thing. My brother and I used to read those all the time, and I was super excited because I was like, oh, my brother and I are like Jack and Annie and we're going on these adventures and all that stuff. So that one was a really big one. But I think the book series that really got me into my current like vein of reading was the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. I distinctly remember going to Half Price Books. I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade. The book was misshelved. The first book was misshelved, so it was kind of a total coincidence that I even picked it up. And the line was really long that day, and I was with my mom, and I was standing in line next to my mom, and I had read almost half of the book before we got to the checkout. So I was immediately hooked. And that series like started to propel me forward in my, like I said, in my current track of reading. It got me out of reading slumps, got me to explore new genres and new authors. So I really owe a lot of my reading experience to that series. The fifth question is, what kind of books do you like to read? So mostly I'm a YA reader at this point. And within YA, it's mostly like sci-fi, fantasy, and dystopia. Some classics, I'm into some classics, mostly Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters and all that. I actually have started to dive a little bit into the adult realm. So that's mostly been like fantasy, paranormal stuff like Erin Morgenstern, like Night Circus and Starless Sea, or Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which is her adult debut. Also, let me know if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, because that's just how I've always heard it in my head, but I actually have no idea how to pronounce her name, so just let me know. I'm really into character-driven stories, like The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, or again, The Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I just think it's super interesting to have a plot driven by the characters rather than the plot just like happening to the characters. It just, for me, it just feels more authentic and it feels more real. But that's not to say that I don't love plot-driven stories. If you're looking for a great plot-driven story, check out The Aurora Cycle by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I'm sure I will be talking about those books on this channel at some point because they're fantastic. But yeah, character-driven stories, YA, sci-fi, fantasy, dystopia. But I'm trying to branch out, so I'm hoping that this channel will also help me to open my eyes to new kinds of books and new worlds and get me reading new things. And the last question that I have, question number 6, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So first of all, obviously I'm new to this. This is my first video, like my first YouTube video ever, my first booktube video ever. So I'm open to any advice. Right now, I'm just filming on my computer's camera using the pre-downloaded editing software that came with my computer, so I'm not doing anything like fancy or no fancy editing or filming or whatever, but I would still be open to any tips on that kind of stuff. One question that I do have is, I feel like a lot of booktubers just read so many books, and I would just ask, how do you have the time? I mean, I'm a student. I have a lot of other responsibilities outside of school, so like I read when I can and I prioritize reading, but sometimes it's just really hard to fit it in. But I mean, booktubers and people on Bookstagram and book bloggers and all of those people, like they just read so many books. It's just crazy that people have so much time to read, and it's super commendable, you know? Like you have to have a lot of self-control and a lot of dedication to be able to read that many books. So I think that's awesome. Maybe one day I'll get there. Keeping my mind open and trying to read as much as I can. That brings me to the end of the questions that I have from the booktube newbie tag. So now that I've answered those questions, I'd be super happy to answer yours. So if you have any questions for me, like get to know you kind of questions or book questions or honestly anything else, leave them in the comments. I'd be super happy to answer them. And so for now, I think that's all I got. I'm super excited to be here. I'm really excited to get started and build a presence on BookTube and get to know the community. And I'll see you guys next time. Happy reading!